Hey, cycle breakers and barrier breakers alike. Welcome to the Fuck That Bullshit podcast, where we advocate, educate, motivate, and create a safe space for you to embrace the mental wealth of marginalized and disenfranchised communities. We are serving no bullshit knowledge, tools, strategies, and insights. And yes, we will be entertaining. Our goal each episode is for you to leave feeling empowered, ready to take action and make meaningful choices that pave the way to your abundant mental wealth. So enjoy, like, subscribe, share, and discuss. Make sure you save it too, just in case you want to look back at it and get some more tips and things. The PTBS podcast is for education, empowerment, and inspiration. It is not a substitute for therapy or professional mental health care. If you're in need of additional support, please reach out to a licensed mental health provider. Warning: the Fuck That Bullshit podcast is intended for mature audiences only. This podcast contains raw, unfiltered conversations about mental health, social issues, and breaking generational cycles. We keep it real, unapologetic, and explicit because healing and empowerment require honesty. We're going to have strong language and adult themes, unfiltered discussions on race, identity, and mental wealth, challenging bullshit narratives without censorship. So if you're easily offended, this might not be for you, and it's definitely not for kids. But if you're ready for bold, barrier-breaking conversations that empower, educate, and entertain, tap in and let's fuck that bullshit together. Let's go. Hey. Well, welcome to the PTBS Fuck That Bullshit podcast. Man,
yeah.
Brian G. Money Turner. We're looking for Fred. I don't know where Fred at. Fred, if you're out there, we're waiting for you.
Y'all boy Fred at, call us.
Call it.
540-555-12345.
All right. So we didn't have nothing last week, you know what I'm saying? Because stuff was happening last week, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's Juneteenth.
Yeah.
So we've been doing Juneteenth stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Juneteenth, Fall Day. You know, it was a good time.
It's a good time. You know what I'm saying? You know, you did some DJing yesterday.
Yeah. For the NAACP for Stafford County, Virginia. You know, look them up. Awesome people.
Yeah, check them out. And guess what I did last week? I was a vendor for a Juneteenth event here in Leander, Texas. Leander and all that. And it was pretty good. It was pretty fun. You know what I'm saying? This was our booth. We did our little booth thing. It was pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I feel like a professional now. You know what I'm saying?
My
daughter did her brown sugar experience thing. You know what I'm saying? Because her's a wedding planner now. If you're looking for a wedding folks, you know what I'm saying? Y'all looking for planners. She go anywhere. She do destinations. You know what I'm saying? You know, we only 3 hours away from Houston, but that's still a destination. Okay, if you need such a thing, you know. But that was real fun, and it was enjoyable, and it was different, and it took a lot to get stuff together. We made candles and all kind of stuff to give away and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool marketing for myself in a different way. You know? So
got a good crowd though.
They had a decent crowd because there was also no King's Day. You know,
right.
Sure, that took some of the crowd because last year they had a much larger crowd. This year we noticed the difference, but I was like, maybe some people was out there protesting for that. You know.
Yeah, I mean, and that was an important protest.
It was. You know, but I didn't see a whole lot of us still out there either.
Well, no, we're not going to be out there. But there was a few. Good job. Yeah. I mean, all in all, they did an awesome job in comparison to the parade.
Right.
The celebration of and I saw a couple of clips, and this guy was I don't know if he was ex-military or current, so I don't want to say one or the other, but he was saying how you could see that the military themselves that's marching in the parade are protesting, because he was like, we don't march like that. They just casually walk. Yeah.
Right.
So nobody was down with that.
Nobody was interested at all. So good job for everybody went out to the No Kings,
Hey,
protest and all that kind of stuff. They're supposed to be having another one and all that. So like, keep it going, people. We still not coming, but keep it going.
and y'all doing an awesome job. We're very proud of you all. Very proud.
We are. But remember, we're doing this for y'all too. Because there was not one bullet flying,
Exactly.
no rocks thrown,
Exactly.
nothing burned down, none of that.
Yep.
So we helping y'all out because if we was out there, that's what we're looking out for you people. So today, I want to also tell you another good thing happened Saturday for the Juneteenth thing that I did was the year before. I had my thing where I would give little girls butterflies from my hair if they was like enamored, right? And stuff like that, and tell them that they was beautiful little black girls and all that. Well, two of the little girls from last year came looking for me this year and had their butterfly in.
Oh,
it was pretty cool.
It's a real thing.
I took a picture with them. I blurred their faces out because I did not get their parents' permission to put them online.
Right.
But this is the picture.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
They went the outfits on too.
I'm telling you, bro. But it was super, super cool and super inspiring because I do that because it comes from my heart and all that. But like, it stuck with them for a whole year, and he told their parents like, "I'm gonna wear my butterfly and see if the lady out there again." Right. And when he saw me, he was like, "We've been looking for you." I was like, "What I did." And so then the mom passed by with the other little baby girl and stuff. And so she was like, "Can we get a picture and give us hugs and all that good stuff?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm inspiring little children for real."
Look at that. Making an impact in the community. That's what it's about.
Exactly. So now I want to start a whole little girls thing and all, and I want to call it like butterfly business.
Oh, that's nice.
That'd be cool.
That's nice. That's a good
idea. I don't have time to put that together, but I am. I promise y'all.
Yeah, the thought.
That's the point.
You know what I mean?
The podcast was once a thought 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Well, here we go. So today we talking about fuck that, don't tell nobody bullshit. We breaking the stigma around Black mental wealth. That's what we're doing today. And all. So, Brian, what's the worst thing that you've heard with regard to outside of the regular will stay in my house, would go on in my house, stay in my house? What other things can you think of that keep us from going and get mental health checks or like, staying away from mental health as Black people?
I think the big main stigma for that I've heard is like therapy for white folks. Yeah. Or, you know what I'm saying? It's almost like a flat out disregard of where you are mentally. It's like, nah, man up or woman up. You know what I mean? Hey, shake that shit off. We get well, for lack of a better word, we get hood therapy. You know what I'm saying? Right. And the whole, ladies with that fuck that man girl. You know what I'm saying? Right. Bullshit. That shit ain't. You know what I'm saying? That shit ain't that important. And it gets mild down like so regular till you're uncomfortable mentioning. No matter how bad you feel, you still. You want to say something and you're like, because you don't want to hear that shit that come with you saying something.
Right. Yeah, because I can remember actually like being sad and saying, I'm sad or I don't feel good and all that. They go, Big Fred.
Why you look angry?
Y'all forgot y'all was out of town.
We did forget you was out of town. We did. Yeah.
But y'all look so lonely without me putting out ATVs and stuff.
It was. I had a tear coming down.
Yeah, I saw that, man. I saw that.
I was real sad because you wasn't here. What would I do about
that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right. Cool. But, well, I'm glad you came anyway. Because you ain't here. You could have just texted us and be like, niggas, I'm out of town. You know what I'm saying?
I can't abandon my people.
Well, we love you for that. So we were just talking a little bit about stigmas in the Black community and what stuff you'd have heard being said that keep us from going and all that, and the whole
keep us from like moving forward.
Yeah, just go and get some help. You know what I'm saying? Because like we had the whole, keep what's in my house. Can't tell my business outside of this house, right?
Yeah, I used to say that.
Well, we just passed that down from generation to generation.
Yeah, but I mean, I've said that, but not. But it was never nothing. It was like, we gonna fake do this raffle so we can get this rent money.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
what in this house. You know what I mean? Like that, man. And that wasn't my idea. Actually, that was my thing.
Right.
35 millimeter camera. You know what I mean? Going with Dixie out, but yeah, stuff like that. Like never so much something that would affect your mental health. Something that puts you in that kind of situation. Right.
Well,
but I think
like if you say you don't feel good mentally, emotionally, or whatever, you ain't got no feelings. Go lay down.
Right.
The dismissiveness.
Well, yeah, but it's hard. It's hard to give an example because my kids can't come to me and say I'm feeling bad. I'm gonna be like, wait, turn that TV off. You need to talk.
Yeah,
right. Because we're different.
Right. But I think there are those those household at home environment where that does happen, and but I think for that to happen in a household, it got to be deeper. You know what I'm saying? Like from that parent to that child, it got to be deep. You know what I mean?
And usually it
can't be just cut and dry. Like that kid fall, and of course because we old, we thinking, oh, they young, they gonna heal up. Boy, you all right, but not with your emotional state. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That 8 to 80.
Right. That is the truth. I got I found a video with this lady talking about 3 reasons for stigma. There you go.
Hey guys, Dr. Jordan. I'm going to be really quick today, but because it is Black History Month, I'm going to be giving you guys 3 reasons for the mental health stigma in the Black community. So number 1 is the fear of being labeled as crazy or weak, which we know does happen. Anytime anybody mentions anything about therapy, the first thing somebody thinks is either crazy or you're weak. Number 2 is going to be religion. A lot of times when somebody voices that they're struggling with mental health issues, they will receive feedback like, just pray about it. And it's perfectly okay to pray about it because we know that your faith can act as a support system for you and be helpful for you. The problem comes in when that's the only option that is given to you to receive any help for your mental health. And number 3 is that it is historically ingrained in us. And what I mean by this is that these misconceptions with mental health go all the way back to slavery days when slaves were thought to be too dumb or not sophisticated enough to experience things such as anxiety or depression. And so instead of using those terms, they would use terms such as stressed or too tired. And these terms have been passed down from generation to generation. The misconception really has caused people to be more likely to ignore mental health issues using those terms. And so I'm not anxious, I'm just stressed. Or I'm not depressed, I'm just tired. It's important to remember that mental illness is treatable and it's nothing to be ashamed of. That's all I got for y'all. Bye.
Great points.
Yeah, good points.
Good. Yeah, those were great points.
I can see your mind moving, Brian.
I think it's a bit exaggerated. You know what I mean? Okay. Because I don't know, and I can't speak for everybody. I'm only speaking for the people that I know, that have had kids, that had an issue of some kind. You know what I mean? Going through a family issue,
Right.
And not one of them did the just pray on it. And most of the time, how I got involved in the conversation, it was like, any places that can help my kid. Okay. You know what I mean? Because they'll be like,
maybe it's changing with our generation.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. But
is there a shift happening? Well, do we still have these heavy stigmas like that? Because I only run into a few people now. It's really not as bad as it used to be. Even the older people are starting to be like, well, you know what? I think I am depressed.
Yeah.
Right. Now from an older group, I could see that then. But even that, there's more to it with that because those outlets weren't readily available, or they were readily available, but they didn't know that they were readily available. now that I see that on a daily basis. When people need help, they'll come to my job and be like, "Oh, I didn't even know I could do that here." You know what I'm saying? So in our community, the word wasn't out. Hey, boy, somebody was walking behind you.
That was your sister. That was your sister-in-law.
He was about to jump up and fight somebody.
Exactly.
Boy, who's behind you? Like, we're not in the hood no more. You don't gotta do that. That was his wife.
But I don't see it so much anymore. Like as far as mental health, I still see people sticking to the old ways when it comes to discipline.
Okay, so you see it.
People won't get off of that, and I think that's a big part of mental health because
It is.
when you're getting beat down for every little thing you do, that kind of affects how you raise your kids when you become adults and parents.
That's true. That's true. But also, I'm glad you bring that up because that's the biggest space that I find is hard to break through with parents and their discipline because you're disciplining the thing that you think you're disciplining the behavior, but the behavior comes from a mental health issue, right?
Right.
So you're punishing somebody's inability to regulate their emotions because they don't have the tools, but you just beating their ass, right? And stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the appropriate approach for that thing rather than figuring out what's going on with the kid.
Yeah,
So
because I hear a lot of people, that ain't nothing wrong with him. He just acting up. Maybe something is wrong with him. You need to go look a little deeper.
right. Because kids don't act out just to act out. There's always a
No.
reason.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
like I say, I think even with those parents, it's like they don't approach it because they don't take it seriously themselves. It's unfortunate that the quality of care you get as a child depends on what is or isn't important to the parent. Until you reach that age where you start to do your own research and find out your own things.
Okay. That's
Because
true.
you got some parents, okay, have that heavy work ethic. You
Right.
got a bunch of kids that grow up and know how to work their ass off. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But they may not. But at the same time, they may not be able to value relationships or
Right.
value, connection with other people. They connected with let me make this dollar. So it's like
Dollar. Yeah.
it's that type of thing. Because I know a guy right now got a beast work ethic, trash ass human being though. You know what I mean? So I think it comes down to that. I don't know. That's a crap ass stigma. We've been stuck on it for years. We've been
Right.
stuck on it
Right.
for years. But I do
Right.
think our generation is the generation where it began to turn because we were at the opening of more information and a better understanding of expressing how we feel.
Right.
Outside of just going, what it was, long suffering. Because going back to what she was saying, like about the whole prayer-on it thing, that's right. People will go to church and will literally tell their pastor, like, I'm going through, and then he give you a Bible verse, not a number to a therapist. You know what I'm saying? So you still got to figure out how to work it
Or
out.
he smack you on your forehead and tell you, "Haba
Exactly.
shabba labba labba."
Exactly. Mama say, Mama Sama,
Mama
Mama
kusada.
Ain't it? Ain't it?
Kill a mosquito. Okay. So like, yeah. And like you said though, like I don't again because we never dismiss anybody's belief systems and nothing like that. If that's
Right.
what's helping you feel better in that moment, by all
Mhm.
means. And she even said if you want to pray about it, cool. But that's more than just that. There's more than just that one thing, right?
Right.
You have to actively be doing stuff. And
Right.
I mean I feel the same way about people who come and say, oh, well, I need medicine. Okay, you might need medicine to help you out. You still got to do some stuff, right? You can't just be like,
Right.
everything's great, right? And stuff like that because the actions of behavior actions still have to happen as well,
Mhm.
So I also looked at kind of this dude here was talking kind of a bit about some history of why we don't trust health care systems because a lot of the stigma also is connected to racism and how they done us dirty in every
Mm.
aspect, including healthcare. And so, even when it came to mental health care, there's always been an issue. So,
If you ever want to understand the original origins of something, you go back and look at how at its beginning. So now in 2025, we can very clearly see that people don't want to go to therapy. Why is it people don't want to go and seek mental health services? Because, friends, here's the field of psychology, unfortunately, has created these stereotypes, and societally, it has now exasperated. Meaning this specifically, you have asylums that were happening. That's why someone says, like, hey, I don't want to go talk to a shrink. And like, well, that's not the function of my role as a therapist. But in times past, though, it was. Being placed in asylums. People who were experiencing traumatic things were being called crazy, you name it. So because mental health providers, early times of the 20th century, had done such horrible things, unintended and intended, we look at the history of how it's created and how it looks nowadays. People don't want to necessarily take a part of it. So I think when we're talking about mental health stigma, I think it's important that we look at societal stigmas, right? How we in the general population. But more importantly, I think the field of psychology, you have to take a deep, long look at our history. And we have to take a deep, long look at how we have caused harm and how we have caused pain. Because if we do not, we will continue to have people feeling like they can't come and utilize the services that are available to them. And us as providers being confused as to like, well, why is it that this client doesn't feel comfortable talking to me? If you look at the history of how medical systems have done the Black experience, you could very easily. So hope that helps. Hope you all have a great day.
So it's on you. So it's your fault. Now you up there, you and your therapist been fucking over Black people for centuries. Black people don't want to go to therapy, intentionally or unintentionally.
It is not me. It's not me. It's fucking over Black people. It's them. It's them. Actually, but like that, like the stuff he talking about, like it's real stuff. I had a lot of people that come to me that have had therapy before, and they get a lot of smiling, nodding therapists. They get a therapist that don't understand the Black experience. I had one that I've had one therapist report that said, "You sure this not your cycle? It's not your period? How your hormones?" You know, now that's an appropriate question in context because hormones do affect your emotions, right? But as a white man talking to a Black woman, and that's the problem, right? And stuff. We ain't exploring nothing else first, you know. And I've also had white therapists to tell Black people that everything is not a Black thing, like negating the Black experience. Are you sure? You sure that person was following you in the store? Like, you know, so it's like a lot of dismissing of our experiences, or like, you know, well, everything is not about you. Seem to bring everything back down to race. Because it is. Having a Black experience, and this is causing emotional distress.
Right.
Yeah.
Because let's make it clear, everything is about race. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's just a fact of life.
Yeah, I mean, it's not enough of us in these fields for us to be able to find doctors, therapists that understand us. And, you know, people like Chanel and the rest of them, they can only take so many people. You'd love to take every Black person on the planet and say, come to me, but you can't, you know. So you stuck with Dr. John, who just won't get paid. You know, he don't, because I feel like part of being a therapist is you got to kind of relate to what that person is going through. And if you can't relate to being, Dr. John can't relate to being profiled everywhere you go. Dr. John can't relate to when I get pulled over, I got to take my keys out the ignition, sit them on the top of the dashboard, put my hands on the steering wheel like this. So it don't seem like I'm not a threat at all. Dr. John just be like, "Good morning, officer." That's it.
Right. He get pulled over with no fear, you know.
Yeah,
Concern, except for the
Right.
ticket.
Right.
But
And I don't think people understand the heaviness of the everyday. There's the
mhm,
everyday blackness that wears you out. It wears you out. It's the same thing I talked about on my TikTok, that I was hyper vigilant when this lady looked at me funny because
mhm,
I was ready for the fight. What you want to do,
right,
lady? You know, and
right.
then she was like, "Oh, you're so beautiful." Oh, okay, all right. Thanks. All right. You know, because
Uh,
I'm in ready to fight mode, right? You know, and so you never know when racism is going to approach you. So you're ready. All that takes a lot of energy. It's a lot
yeah,
of mental.
right. And it's
and
exhausting. You know what I mean? It's exhausting.
yeah,
Is it?
it's
Is
exhausted. I mean, I'm gonna tell you. You know what made me realize it?
it? Mhm.
Yesterday, when me and my wife went to go see Sinners,
Hmm.
Okay.
and when the white people, the white vampires came up to the joint, they didn't let them in because they were vampires. They let them in because Smoke said, "What happened if somebody dancing too close to his old lady,
Exactly. Exactly.
or somebody step on his foot? Then what?
Right.
Now we got they coming down here and they busting every black head in this building."
Exactly.
Right. So they couldn't
Exactly.
invite them in, even outside of the fact that they were vampires. They didn't know.
Yeah,
Like your boy said it was
Yeah.
just yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
No. Right.
I
y'all was
just went
right
on.
too. Mary did sell him out. She sold him.
Yeah,
She got everybody in there killed.
she did. She did.
Well,
And she was quite sacred.
not really. I disagree.
Quite
Because
sacred though. She was trying to
she
help.
got vampired up.
Yeah,
You know, she got
Yeah.
vampired up, and that's
She
what
did.
yeah.
killed everybody. All right, she didn't turn on it.
She got vampired up because of positioning. She knew that and she said that they'll
Right.
tell me more than they'll tell
Nor
you.
they'll tell
Right.
you. Yeah.
So she
Right.
was a white
I
savior, like,
mean,
okay, I'm gonna use it to try to get
but
what we can get. And she
if
just
you
got
have a
vampired up.
quality, if you have a quality white person in your camp, you should utilize
Yeah,
them
Yeah.
efficiently. You know what I'm saying? And that's
if
why
they're willing.
Smoke was like, yeah, you're right. Go ahead. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because these are
But
the truths.
it's all right.
These are the
Since she
truths.
got
You
vampire,
know,
she meant well.
she just
You
got
know,
vampired up. She didn't know.
Yeah.
He snuck up on her. Because she
Yeah.
kind of
Nobody
caught wind
knew.
of it too.
that
She had to roll
motherfucker
her
could
out.
fly. You
He
understand?
flowed.
That motherfucker could fly. He gonna get you.
Oh, you know what too? Then we can jump back on subject. I'm glad y'all didn't tell me how that movie ended.
Yeah. I
Oh, of
was
course
on
not.
point.
I'm
We'll never do that.
I'm glad y'all didn't tell me how the movie ended.
Yeah.
Because you needed that.
I,
You
I, I,
needed that.
yeah, even though we was making jokes about the Coogee sweater, but yeah.
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 It still didn't
But
get info.
Uh-huh.
no, it didn't.
That
Because
was
I
true.
didn't know what the hell y'all was talking about. Then I
Right.
saw the
Yeah,
sweater. I
no,
was like,
you look like it too.
Oh,
oh.
yeah.
Yep.
But understand that anytime we talk about centers, it's not off topic because
Yeah.
everything in there relates to mental health as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
And
yeah, exactly.
Every little
No,
bit.
everything.
Every little thing.
speaking of
What?
mental health, and
What?
a little bit off the topic, so but not really.
Not really.
Have y'all seen Straws? Y'all
Yes,
got
No.
give me
yes.
some.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, yeah, I saw that.
No.
I got to give it to Tyler Perry. Yeah, I don't think he wrote that though.
I'm still not giving him shit. But
That's the one you was talking about last time, bro?
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm watching it
Uh,
today. I'm gonna watch it when we get
yeah,
off. I'm going to watch
right.
Oh, you
Yeah.
need to watch it.
It's not that,
it. All
it's
right.
a Tyler Perry, so it's not that long. And when I say the shit hits the fan,
Real
the shit
fast.
Yeah.
hits immediately. Like
Oh,
Oh, good. I like
yes.
that. I like when
yeah,
you jump
yeah,
right in. All right.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna watch it. I ain't gonna take as long as Fred did, and then we can talk about it some more.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Cool. We gonna just leave that there right now.
Gonna pause that right
Yeah.
there. Back to that. All right.
I got my feelings
So,
about
so we got some other factors to consider where stigma is concerned. And I'm always bringing it back to slavery because a lot of shit fucked
that.
us up in slavery and all that.
Yeah.
So enslavement that broke the system. Some factors are public displays of emotions became dangerous,
Mm-hmm.
right? Expressing sadness equals weakness, or it's risky, right? Because if you sad, people know you sad, then that equals you being weak, or you become a liability. Crying children were punished or silenced, and survival depended on appearing strong, obedient, and fine. You
Right.
see how that can
Yes.
into now that we and because we still are under, like, it's not, out and about oppressive like it was, right? But we
Mm.
still living under oppression, and these
Right.
things still apply.
Right.
All those things still apply. Because if I
Mm.
do show some display of emotion, I'm an angry black woman, and all hell about to break
Mm.
loose, right? And I
Right.
watched it even happen today when I was in the local Goodwill picking up some things, and I was challenging the prices on the items because it was two of the same items and they had different prices. And I need you to honor this lower price, ma'am, sir, right? And the
Mm.
lady at the counter wanted to go back and forth, and I'm like, first, they don't pay you enough to be going back and forth. Yeah, trust me, I know.
Right. Right.
Second of all, it's not your money, and third of all, if you got the power to do the thing, just do the thing so I could go, right?
Mm.
And all
Right.
that. And I did not, because the girls, I'm not getting ignorant in public. It's not my jam. And all that. And I asked her, I said, okay, well, if you don't have the power to do it, may I speak with the manager so that I can try to get this done, right? She went through all these changes, and maybe somebody messed with the label, and when she started taking off the label, started tearing up. No, y'all labels are non-messable, so
Right.
it tears apart. All that. I say, you know what? It's possible that it could be mislabeled, and I'm not doubting that. However, it is labeled as this, and I would
Right.
like you to honor this price that is labeled for the rest of these
Mm.
items. Just
Mhm.
know, if you can't do it, let me talk to the manager. So the manager comes over, and I was concerned because they were of the same ethnicity, and all that. And I asked her the same thing, and you could tell she wanted to. She thought she was about to
Right.
argue the same point. She looked at me. She looked at Nay, and they always ready for a fight. Understand that? Even if I would have been like, "Fuck,"
Yeah.
Nay was gonna be like, "No, we're not going to walk away," right? And she was ready already. She's like, "Don't make me
Mhm.
call corporate Goodwill for a $3 jar," right?
Mm. Yeah.
And stuff. So, but I can see the look on the lady's face where she conceded within herself, like, I don't want it with these people because I'm not sure how far they're gonna take it. And maybe she thought in her mind, this is way above pay grade. I'm not arguing over this. Give it to them
Right.
for that. It's on the thing. It's not that big of a deal. And she walked
Right.
away. All right. And they kind of looked at the lady like, why are we doing this? Like, they don't pay us much, right?
Right.
And stuff. And so, but I watch that all the time when we go to places where people, like, they have to decide if they want, are they gonna say something? Are they not gonna say something?
Mhm.
Is it gonna get ignorant in here? Like, what's gonna go down? Right. So there's always that portrayal that we be concerned about, right? And please don't let none of y'all get excited in public. Because the black man get excited. Whoa, no.
Jail. Clank.
Clank,
Clank.
clank all together. Yeah. And because you have to maintain a certain amount of strength outside of the house, when you get inside the house, you do the same thing. You try to hold the same thing down unless you feel completely safe there.
Right.
Then you can let
Right.
your guard down. But as
Yeah.
men, like, y'all still have a certain amount of guard to be up, even inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we know 90%, 95% of the time it's not going our way. You know how many times I done went somewhere and something didn't act stupid, and I'll sit there and I'll be like, you know what? It ain't even worth all the trouble that it's going to be if I get into it with this person.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's just like, don't worry about it, and then you just leave.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, because I do imagine if I was a black man in that position and a little bit of smoke was happening, I'd have walked away rather than going through the motions of calling the people.
Right.
Like, fuck
Right.
it.
Yeah.
'Cause I ain't gonna have
Yeah.
y'all call the police on me for stupid stuff.
Yeah. And they will
And
they will immediately. So there have been times where I'd have had a discrepancy in the store, and I really had to, and I have to talk myself out of, you know what I mean? I'm like, man, this motherfucker. And then I'm like, you know what, bro? Hey, man, don't even sweat it. It's cool. I'm not getting it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but you wanna, I mean, because it's for one, it's a pride thing. Two, it's not that big of a deal. And it's crazy because it's smaller places where that'll happen. Because you go into you'll go to Lowe's, something price wrong, like, hey, I got these 2 shovels. One say 99 cents, the other say $125. They'll be like, oh, I'll give it to them for 99 cents.
And that'd be no problem. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Somewhere like Goodwill, goddamn it, y'all didn't pay for shit in there.
Exactly. This is donation.
All your merchandise is free.
There was zero cost involved in getting this item.
They can sell everything for 50 cents and make a profit. You know what I'm saying?
And still make profit. Yeah, exactly.
Shame on you, Goodwill. Shame on you.
Like, shame on you. You know. But in the end, you know, I got what I needed and all that kind of stuff. So that part was good and stuff. But I do think about situations like that. And of course, I'm always considering the racial dynamic too, because the lady that was the cashier and the manager were both Indian women and stuff like that. And so, right. So we also, because of course, when we was like, okay, what was that really about? Right. And so just like when we had the Brown versus Black episode, and I found this lady who was talking about how the Hispanic women voted the way they did because they don't like the fact that Black women, even though we all are under the patriarchy that is America, right? That we speak out, we say stuff, we fight for our rights, we loud, we like, fuck that, right? And stuff like that. And they want to be that way, but they are typically not that way. They don't have enough courage to stand up and go against their men or anybody else's men and stand up and say, nah, fuck that. And they hate the fact that we say fuck that. So rather than allowing us to, like, being on our side to do the thing, they attack and go against for spite, right? So I hate you because I ain't you. And so now I'm going to be against you, right? So I feel like the same thing happens with Indian women because I know they are a very high patriarchal society, and a lot of the women in that culture do not get any respect. You know,
no, they don't.
They don't, right? And so I felt like part of it was an opportunity for her to challenge me. You know, so it wasn't even about the thing itself or the price or whatever. It was, how dare you, Black woman, come in here and say something to me that's different than what I say is on. No, this is how we're going to do this, right? And then I refused to argue back and forth as well. Like I was like, well, if you can't do it, that's cool. Find me a manager. You know? And if the manager they don't want to do it, that's okay. I'll have to decide whether I want these items or not.
Right.
I was just cool about it the whole time. So there was no
and then that's when you go back to the stigma. Because y'all have that stigma, Black women automatically jump to violence. Is the one little thing go wrong, here they come, shoot first, ask questions later.
Right.
And when you don't do it, they don't know how to act. They don't know how to react.
Right. But I feel like too much of that type of stigma, that's a lot of that falls on us. I mean, we got too many TikToks, too many YouTubes, too many snippets.
That confirms that.
Right. Yeah. And it may only be 8 people out of 8 million that do that.
Right, but that's what gets shown.
Yeah. And I mean, the shitty thing about a stereotype, period, is 25% of it is true. You know what I'm saying? 25% of it's true. So the reality is there. It's just not as many fucking people as you think. But going back to something you were saying earlier when you was talking about slavery, it's like how everything goes back to slavery. Especially with therapists that are not Black, talk to a Black person, they have to understand and look at slavery is like, and with the whole, it was a long time ago, all that bullshit. Slavery is like a birth defect. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God,
it's like you born with something, and we were born with something. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, we weren't in the time, but all the effects of this birth defect is still with us. We was out there too, you know, and that's really how people need to start looking at it. When people talk about what they're dealing with, and then reflect it back to slavery. When I talk to Dad, Dad was talking to me about when he was working on a movie, Django.
Mhm.
You know, he kept calling it Django. I want it so
Django,
bad.
yeah, I figured he did.
I want to call her like, if you don't stop putting that goddamn D.
The D is silent.
You know
The D is
what I'm
silent.
saying? But,
Like the K in knife.
right, right. But he was talking about it. He said, you know, they was, you know, around there by that little plantation, the one on River Road. And he said that one of the people that owned the property or managed the property, one of the other. And he said he took him around back. He was like, you know, look all them graves, like an acre. He said, look all them graves. He said, them graves full of little black kids that died on this plantation. Either died or were killed on this plantation. You know what I'm saying? That was like, I was about to bust out in tears. Now that was during, you see what I'm saying? It was that long ago. He said even the scenes where they was whipping Django, he said, you know, the black people, you know, behind the scenes camera people, you know, the people that work with him, and they knew it was a movie because they working on a reaction in tears. In tears. And they knew it was fake. You see what I'm saying? So you know, when you have a therapist that can't relate to the fact that birth effect is still affecting you mentally, spiritually, socially, environmentally, and everything else, then what you need to do as a therapist, you get a black client, do your damn research. Like you would something that you should know about. Because the effects of a thing are beyond what happens is, unfortunately, is they'll take your situation and put it in their categories. And
oh God.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't take me feeling like I'm getting followed in the store and put it in the fact that shit just never happened to you. So it probably wasn't happening to me.
Right. That's the context that they put it in. You try to put it in, and that's when I started realizing the more I talk to people and the more I, you know, explore myself, like we literally live different experiences. Literally. Like if we both go in the store at the same time with the same outfit, looking exactly the same, we're gonna have a different experience. Just period. Right. And what's funny is my son-in-law, he had a moment yesterday and we went somewhere. We went to the store and it was the first time he actually felt it because his mama raised him to be white, you know, because you know Hispanics, we talked about it, right? And all that. So he never paid attention to the racism that was happening in his face all the time. He didn't recognize it, he didn't see it because he didn't feel like it applied to him, right? And all that. And yesterday I watched him be so hyper vigilant that I was like, calm down, like chill, like you real excitable, like. But for me, I notice it all the time, but I just ignore it, or I decide how I'm going to handle it as it's happening. I can tell when somebody looking at me sideways. I can tell, you know, tell the old racist white man is giving you like the stink face, right? And all that. But he paid attention to everything that was happening in that store and was reacting and responding to it and all that. And I had to allow him to, because it was working my last one for a moment. But then I was like, no, this is the first. And he apologized. He was like, I'm sorry, I'm so hyper, like vigilant and like very sensitive. I said, no, you just recognize it for the first time. That's all. It was
right. And we got to remember, it's been happening to you.
It's been happening to you. Just the first time you actually paid attention and noticed it for what it was. You kept yourself in a space of blindness because you were talking. You were talking. So now that your eyes wide open and you see it here, you can feel it because you can feel it, man. It's not just I see it. It's I feel it, right? And I was like, so now you feel it now. And so now you're pissed. You're pissed, right? And all that, you know, because we was replacing our TV. And one little guy had checked his ticket while we was walking out, checked the receipt. And the older white guy, right after he passed the first dude, I know he saw him check that receipt. Asked him for it.
He asked him for the receipt?
He asked him for the receipt. Yeah.
I'd have been like, fuck no. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And Drew he was ready for us. He had it ready for him, you know, but he was pissed while he was doing it. But he was waiting on old boy to say something and all that.
Yep.
Now I don't know what happened with the dude by the time we got to because the dude wound up also going to the door and all that to watch us walk out the door. But he was overly like, y'all have a nice day, y'all have a nice day, y'all have a nice day.
Right.
And I like, I don't know if that was guilt or
you know what that was? That was that passive aggressive shit. It's like I'm gonna do a thing, but then I'm not gonna act out in that way. Kind of balancing it out. It's like I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do because I don't trust your black, Mexican, Spanish, Puerto Rican ass.
Right.
But I'm not gonna outwardly treat you like shit to avoid a bigger confrontation. That's all that bullshit is. And see, and that's the thing. People have to like realize what it is, because I was in CVS the other day, and I went in there. I was looking for fake plants that look real, and then I remembered like, oh shit, they got those at the dollar store, so I'm gonna get them from there. So I'm browsing. You know what I'm saying? Felt that looking at me shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And before I even looked around, out of reflex, I went in my pocket and I had my wallet in my hand, and I just kind of kept playing with my wallet in my hand, almost like what I was saying was, I got money. Yeah, I'm not here. But I shouldn't have to do that shit. You see what I'm saying? I shouldn't have to do that. I mean, I was so glad ain't nobody say nothing to me, because I was gonna get a Diet Coke out of there, and because I really wanted a Diet Coke, and I said, nah, these motherfuckers gonna think I'm buying a Diet Coke just so I could be getting something. I said, fuck it, I'm gonna leave you thinking what you're thinking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that, man, that's some bullshit. That's some bullshit. But that's like our Monday through Friday. You know what I'm saying? It's Monday through Friday shit. Because the same way, you know, that history of that hate and that segregated, you're less than me feeling that fucks with us mentally. The same way it's a birth defect for us, it's a fucking disease for them. Because they can't come out of that shit. You know what I'm saying? They can't come out of that shit.
Right. Yeah, I saw somebody, and I think it was a psychology student or something online, or somebody working on their stuff. But they was like, I think we need to petition for racism to be in the DSM as a disease, as a disorder. I said, yeah, because it is.
Finally.
Yeah, it is.
Right. I wish they would, please.
Right. Because I've been saying that shit for years. It's like,
that is a disease.
You can't tell me that's not a mental illness.
Right. You know, and I feel like if drapetomania, which was in the considered a disease from back in the day, that was the desire of a slave to want to run away and be free. And that was a disorder.
Okay.
Mania. Look it up. You'll get educated here. Crazy. I'm disordered because I want to be free. I don't want to be free.
Yeah, because you should want to be a slave. You know how good you got it? You get 3 square meals a day, somebody taking care of you.
There's nice dirt to lay on. To go to bed.
There's good dirt flow.
Good dirt flow. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
But that's you're right. It should, but it'll never happen, because then they'd have to admit that they're sick.
Right. Sick. Exactly.
And then they're never going to do that. They're never going to do that.
Right. And that adds to the stigma, though. That adds to the stigma, because if you already was labeling us, you know, because we wanted to be free, you labeled us as mentally ill. So no, I can't. The system of mental health, right?
That's so crazy.
Right. That's just crazy.
Those niggas are crazy. They want to be free. What the hell, John? They don't want this. They don't want freedom. Fuck that.
But you know what, though? Now that I think about it, they still do that to this day.
Okay.
When you try and get a day off of work, and they ask you why you want a day off of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
diagnosis to get off from work. I'm tired. I just don't want to come. I earned my day. We're like, why are we having this conversation?
Why are you taking off? Because I got hours I can take off.
Right. Because
that's what they're there for. You know?
I'm entitled to take off. Right.
Yep. But then they complain if you leave the job with 195 hours of annual leave, and they got to pay your ass for all that. So it's a catch-22. You
know. So that ties to me into diagnosis And so also as just overall as Black folks, we get misdiagnosed and overdiagnosed and stuff like that. And here's a couple of examples of that.
Does anybody else family believe that mental illness or mental disorders is not a real thing? Like growing up, one of my cousins used to always say that she heard voices. And she would always tell my family members, and they'll always be like, oh, you just talking to yourself, or maybe you need to pray it away. Like she literally had to wait 21 years just to go to the doctor by herself. And come to find out she has schizophrenia. And even after the diagnosis, they still refuse to believe that it's real. They don't believe in schizophrenia. They think it's all in her head. They say it's her imaginary friends, like she's doing it to herself. I even have a baby cousin that has severe autism. My family refuses to believe that this child is autistic. They don't think autism is real. Don't get me started on depression. You better not even bring up depression because that is non-existent. That is you having a bad day.
So that was the wrong video, but worth the discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Family needs therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I'm gonna call exaggeration on top of exaggeration, but it's because it feels inflated. Like your whole family, everybody. There was no people at all in this child's life that said, "Hey, you might need to get this child checked out," or no family member that said, "Hey, I'm gonna take you to get checked out." You know what I'm saying?
Right. So that's why I wonder if it's like, and I feel that exaggeration too, because I feel like our generation on, and don't get me wrong, I know there are a lot of Gen Xers who still think more like boomers, right? And stuff like that. So they have some of those that's on the cusp, right? Or just never melted into the newer times and all that and that kind of stuff. But I feel like for the most part, and I'm trying not to just use our family as an example because I talk to all the cousins and all the cousins, like we all on the same plane with this kind of stuff, right? And all that. When all the people before us wasn't necessarily there, right? So but I try to take it outside of us, but I don't know. Sometimes I still see a high incidence of people who still like they're well, my clients are old enough to be my children, but their parents have to be around our age and they still acting like that. You know,
because
so
they're going with what worked. That's what worked for them. So they don't try and learn nothing new. Oh, well, it worked when I was a kid. It probably didn't. They just didn't have the information that they got now.
That's true.
And you just don't want to admit because you don't want nobody else in your family to think you got a crazy person in your family. Your child is crazy.
The crazy part even about that is although everybody got the crazy uncle or the drunken auntie or the, you know what I'm saying? You got that member of your family that everybody know ain't quite right. The body's a little bit off, right? And all that. Like we know Patrice has Down syndrome, right? Nobody treat her no different because Patrice is Patrice. She gonna put you in your place.
Right.
Don't mess with her. And all that. Hey Patrice. And so like so everybody, you know those members of your family that might not be quite right or whatever, you know. We could go even as far, this ain't directly mental health related, but like everybody know the gay uncle or aunt, right?
Right.
You know, and stuff like that. So it's like we know about it, but like you keep it on the hush, you like secret, like, because that's the gay, that's the crazy one, that's the one that up to itself, like, you know, and stuff like that. So you know those things exist. So when we have actual names for them or ways to, you know, decipher what's going on with this person, we still don't want to accept that.
Yeah, because even now, nobody wants to be labeled as the cousin with the crazy kid.
Right.
It's a pride thing. Yeah, not my kids are normal. Mine's are fine. Ain't nothing wrong with mine. When all of them might need some mental health therapy.
Exactly. Like all of mine, though. All of them. A little something. We just work on it. Like, you know.
Right.
So,
I can see that.
All right. So I'm gonna get to the right video this time.
This is very true. Black men are overrepresented in psychotic disorder diagnoses in general, schizophrenia the most, and part of that has to do with both the diagnosable criteria and the lack of cultural competency by providers oftentimes. Like most diagnostic criteria, you have to have symptoms persist for 6 months or longer, and it'd be multiple symptoms. And I'll show you how easy it is to frame the general Black experience as that of paranoia or schizophrenia. Delusions can be either bizarre or non-bizarre is a really easy criteria to fit for Black people. When you get into therapy and you start to talk about the surveillance of the police state, when Black men and Black women go into therapy and they talk about how hyper-vigilant they are because they feel like at any given moment they could be annihilated by white domestic terror or by police and no one would care, that will be listed as a delusion. I've actively seen it in case notes, despite it being rooted in very real realities for us. Disorganized speech. When Black folk go into therapy and they are speaking AVE, when they go in speaking some kind of Creole English, this will be used to argue that they have disorganized speech, that they can't maintain regular conversation. For alogia. Alogia is a poverty of speech, meaning that the longer a conversation goes on, the less inclined you are to talk. You're giving really short responses, very curt responses. Maybe you're responding in 1 or 2 words. That's considered a symptom, as opposed to you maybe not being engaged in a conversation because you realize really quickly that the provider is culturally incompetent and not here for your greater good. Social or occupational dysfunction or both for significant portion of time. So this is where the social history comes in, where they're asking about your friends, your capacity to maintain relationships. And if you say that all of that tends to be impossible and they try to ask you why, and you say it's like, well, I'm in like these predominantly white spaces and it's hard to have friends who are actually here for me, or I feel like I'm constantly being used in the workplace, etc., etc. These will all be used to argue you are paranoid. I have seen it happen in real time. Again, I've been on both sides of this conversation and it happens frequently. And if you do not have culturally competent providers, which you rarely do, even Black ones sometimes, I'm not even gonna hold you, this is how we get here.
That was that shit on TikTok. I be trying to give my credit to my people while I'm out here too, because I be forgetting to put it up on screen. So so thoughts.
Well, and again, the game is set up against us because the game wasn't even prepared for us.
Right.
So the game is, it's already set up against us. And right, that saying that's delusional, even though it's based in so many factors. And so you could just Google, you don't even got to get the whole sentence out. Google gonna finish it for you.
Right.
That's how factual, those type of things are, feeling like you could be annihilated by, white urban terrorism or a cop at any time. It's just a fact. It's historic. It's
right. They will pretend like that's delusional, right?
Right.
And again, I've seen people that get labeled schizophrenic because they say they hear from God.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that may be a spiritual experience for somebody, right? Yeah. And all that. But like you just automatically religious delusion, what they call it.
Religious delusion. So when the pastor say God spoke to me this morning and said,
he crazy. Yeah, right. He crazy. Right. Yeah, he's crazy.
That's why I think there's such a divide when it comes to like religion or spirituality or Christianity, whatever your thing is or whatever, and mental health, right? Because it's the science versus the spiritual, right? When both of them kind of intertwine, if you are able to decipher those things,
right?
But you can call everybody who hear from God delusional, right? Are there some people that's out here like thinking they are God and they are, and again, their belief system, unless they're harming people, what's the problem?
Right.
If they're doing God's wrath from the Bible and they just wiping out people, then that's a whole different. Okay, go on and shut them down, right? But if they believe they are God, right? Because God lives in them anyway, right? Like, who are you to say what's different for their reality?
I met a guy today who said that.
Yeah.
He really believed it. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you're not
I used to say that because you know how like in every neighborhood you got the crazy dudes.
Right.
And I said, what if Jesus was just the crazy guy? You know what I'm saying? And he was walking around and everybody was like, hey, hey, it's crazy Jesus. You know what I'm saying? So what if he was just like a crazy guy? You know what I mean? And then something happened to him.
I believe that with all my heart. Like, And they was pointing and laughing. It was like, this dude right here, get a load of this guy. You know?
Right.
Like,
And people start following him, and it was like, he got to go now.
right.
Think
about anything that comes to light that's new or that you're not aware of it or is misunderstood, you don't understand it or whatever, they label it as crazy.
When they can't control it. You know?
And when they can't control it.
Yeah. That's it. Then they gotta go.
Every time somebody come up with a new invention, they was like, that's crazy. That'll never work. Next thing you know, we got
like, exactly.
You want to talk on an invisible wire?
You're talking about a cordless phone?
Right.
A cell phone. Glass screen. What? You know what I'm saying? They probably was freaking out when the motherfucker came up with the walkie-talkie. Like, what is this box? Breaker 19. What? This is incredible. Let's not give it to the blacks. You know what I'm saying?
Don't let them
want to communicate it.
So here's another example of misdiagnosis for us.
We are not crazy. NYU has just done a study that showed that depression appears differently in Black women, which is why it is often very hard to catch. And here are some of the symptoms that we exhibit that may not show up in other people. So on top of your regular depressive symptoms, Black women, they found, often show things like fatigue, insomnia, decreased libido, and then on top of that, self-blame and self-hate. And that was one of the things when they did a couple controlled studies, they found to be the marked difference is that while most people with depression feel that hopelessness and that loss of motivation, Black women on top of that feel self-blame and self-hate. So not only are you suffering from the depression, but then you have kind of a self-imposed and internalized blaming going on and shaming yourself and being angry with yourself for experiencing the depression, which can make it feel like an even heavier blanket than it already is. And one of the other things I found interesting about the study is that it also reported that depression can show up as irritability in Black women. We know from a previous video that I did and some other research that anxiety can show up that way for us too. And also I found this interesting. They found that Black women with depression exhibited an inability to experience pleasure more than other races of women in the study. And I found that very, very interesting because I'm not here to get up in your business, but I talked to a lot of Black women, and a lot of women are disconnected from their sexuality in the way that they don't feel like they're fully able to experience pleasure in the way they should be. And I find it interesting that this study has linked that to depression. And I also think it's interesting because you probably have heard, as many of us have talking to our girlfriends, women in long-term relationships where, oh, she's always tired, she never wants to sleep with me, and it becomes a relationship issue when that could actually be a symptom of depression. So I love that we're starting to get some backing and some representation in psychological studies, because I do believe that Black women have a different level of need. And maybe if not a different level of need, we need specific care. And so I am very excited that we're starting to see the psychology industry and field do specific research to support us. And of course, as I find out more stuff, I'm gonna share it with y'all, besties. So drop down in the comments, let me know if you have experienced this or observed it in any of your sisters. Let's talk about it.
That was that Nikki Valentine on TikTok.
All right, Nikki Valentine. All right, so what women need?
So
that's scary and confusing.
That's what I'm finding. So what I'm finding, as women come into therapy, Black women come into therapy, that first, they already been told by parents or other folks or church folks or whatever, that ain't depression, or you ain't depressed, or girl, just got to keep going, or whatever the case may be. All right. So they have that belief system that they're supposed to just keep going no matter how much they feel. Second, especially as single mothers, you don't have time to stop and be depressed anyway. All right. So you got to keep it pushing. Like, I got to take care of these kids, girl. I ain't got time to be laying on the bed and stuff. And then, again, we come from slavery, of course, you know, where we couldn't afford to do that. You couldn't stop and be depressed and all that. All I can do is be mad and irritable about my sadness and all that. I found that even in myself with depression, that it took for me to have a certain extended period of depression till my body just decided it couldn't do no more. then I was taking naps and not wanting to wake up. Like I'm just gonna stay asleep right here. Every time I go do a thing, I'm just gonna get back in the bed, right?
Right.
But what my kids noticed was irritability. I was irritable again. Why is this floor on the floor, right? And so that had to be addressed and stuff like that. So, but the DSM criteria that they teach us does not match that. So women are like, black women are like, I don't think I'm depressed. I'm a little frustrated. I'm irritated. I'm agitated. Like I'm angry. I want to punch somebody in the face. And I'm like, no, because you're sad. Like you're just super sad, right? You've been sad for a long time. What happened when your mama died? You just kept moving? Oh, okay, yeah, like that's not gonna work. So, but they just used to keep through whatever the loss is or whatever the thing is. I'm just gonna keep moving, and because I can't afford to stop, right? And so after some time, though, your body can't handle that no more, and it starts shutting completely down on you, and you're getting sick. This started happening, that started happening, But the fact is, you can't keep moving anymore, and I noticed in this 40-ish, 45-ish into 50, there's a huge collective of breakdown. And I think some of it might be perimenopause where you just like, fuck this shit, because you're going through the anyway and stuff like that. But overall, like women are always, the black women become misdiagnosed, or they slap them with anxiety. Oh, you sound like you're anxious.
Yeah.
What's the package deal I noticed? Anxiety and depression is a package deal. It's a package deal. I don't know many people that don't have both, especially if you're black. Because anxiety seems to come with depression, and depression come with anxiety when you're black. Because we live the hypervigilant life.
Right. Damn. But shit. That's complicated.
Ain't it complicated? Yeah. And then we also still have to worry about, like I said, old boy that mentioned the hormones to that client. That wasn't, again, it wasn't what you playing over there, Fred? Because you making noise.
Yeah, like you rolling dice. Doing this. Money out of his pocket and shit. Yeah. I'm gonna podcast.
But I know you can like take that back to. Oh shoot, I lost my thought. Dang, I forgot what I was gonna say. Damn, Fred, I should have stopped the talk.
Don't let Brian throw you off.
It's fine. But like I said, but the criteria that they give us for a lot of things, not just depression, don't necessarily match. And like old girl said in the schizophrenia one, it's easy to take a black situation and make it match what that criteria is, and all of a sudden you schizophrenic, or like I told you, I got misdiagnosed with bipolar disorder, and I don't have bipolar disorder, right? Stuff like that. But they just take those things based upon what's in the book. So what I started doing as a therapist was breaking down the stuff that's happening with us, right? And rather than fitting it into the DSM, I'm like, okay, this over here is our criteria. Let's look up some research on that. Who's researching that? Right.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's even hard because because I participate in a lot of research studies and stuff when people are working on their dissertations and stuff like that, right? Anyone that I can qualify for, I'm doing, but they talk about how they have trouble when they submit, okay, I want to study this about black people or that about black people, that they get all this flack about, that don't need to be studied. What?
Yeah. Right. Throwaway community. You know what I mean?
Right. So they wind up having to fight for their dissertation studies and all that. And a lot of them are winning. They because I participate in a lot of them. They evaluating therapists, or they're evaluating the black experience in therapy and all that kind of stuff. And those things are definitely needed so that we can create criteria that is for us.
Right.
So the more people that do the research and write the papers and create the criteria, then we'll have our own criteria.
Right. And that's a thing. That's a thing to the viewers and the listeners. If you're trying to become a therapist, be a black therapist. Do the black studies. You know what I mean? And gauge from your own experience. Use what you know, find out what you don't know. And for white therapists, it's the same thing. You know what I mean? And I'm telling you, I'm learning so much from Grey's Anatomy.
Grey's Anatomy is very educational.
I have recently applied Grey's Anatomy so much to my life, and I wasn't even like a big fan of the show. But Melissa is doing well. She's getting caught up. She's getting caught up. So, but of course, it's her, so she got to start back to one episode. But
right.
Watching it, the thing is like they'll have a medical situation, and they'll be like, well, this is some shit we never saw before. They'll utilize what they know and then figure out or learn what they don't know to solve the problem. In other words,
that's how you do it.
Right. They don't just take a person and say, I'm going to put you in my criteria. This is what I know. And anything beyond what I know, I'll give you as close a diagnosis as I can to that meets my criteria. Good luck out there. And that's the way we are treated and approached in therapy. You know what I'm saying? Our problems aren't white people problems. And I think most racist and separatist people should love that. You don't want to be like us. Guess what? We're not alike. You know what I mean?
Right. That's the thing. Yeah.
So we can't be approached or worked with from a mental health standpoint in the same damn way.
We can't. We absolutely can't. And if you don't understand it, it's okay for you to say. Because I've had clients who are not black and are not white. I got clients of several different ethnicities and races and stuff like that. And when it's something I don't know and I don't understand, I say so. All right. And I'm like, well, if you don't mind teaching me about that, I would love to learn it. Not your responsibility, but I would love to learn it so that I can treat you in a proper way. Tell me what that looks like in your family. But some of it is similar to the black experience, right? So I'm like, oh, the black community got that same thing going on. Go and tell me about your mama house, how she be trying to overrule all the things. Mine did too. Let me see how bad it is. But that's appreciated. And then when that person, because I had one gentleman, I think he's Palestinian, and when he found a therapist that matched with him in ethnicity and culture, we stopped. He's like, hey, I found somebody that, like, when I tell you it's like she live in my household, I'm like, well, you need to go see her. I'm glad I can get you to this point, but you need to go see her because she really understands. But thank you for teaching me about your culture.
Right.
Yep. Exactly. Get a world experience.
It's when we pretend like we know it all. It's when we act like we were having the same experience. I'm not even gonna pretend like I have the same experience with a white person. I would tell them, like, I don't know what that look like.
Hit me to your world. You know what I mean?
Tell me what that look like for you, because in my experience, that's not what that looks like, right? And stuff like that. So, although I tend to get really hip, cool, rad white people, so or there's somewhere on the disenfranchised spectrum, such as LGBTQ and such, so some of those experiences are similar and all that, so I can understand it from that standpoint and all that. But like, we got to consider all of those things. Let's see, I covered strong black women and black women being called angry. What about the shame that comes with? And I think Fred, you was touching on that. Like, nobody wants to have the kid that ain't normal and all that. How much does shame play in, do you think?
I think it plays in a lot, because as a black community, we don't have a problem talking about other black people to their face.
Yeah.
Even in your family.
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of times, if your kid got ADHD or something like that,
right,
you don't want to go get it diagnosed because you don't want to know. Then you don't want to tell nobody. That's where the keep what happened in my house
thing. Yeah. Because we do tend to talk about stuff a lot and tease each other.
Yeah.
And we'll poke fun at the thing, even though it's not something to poke fun at. Especially when you don't understand it. Especially when you don't understand. I think also in our community, there's a matter of if I have my child diagnosed with ADHD, and these are the issues that we're working on, there's some members in this black family who like, I don't know why you wasting your time doing all that. Just beat his ass. So having,
Yeah. Yeah.
ain't
I've
no good
literally
boy.
heard that before. Yeah, I done literally heard that before. I don't know why you wasting your time doing that.
Right.
Just beat his
Yeah,
ass. He'll be all right.
he just need his ass whipped. That's what he need. But that's because they focused on the behavior, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I always say this. I think it's just a lack of understanding, a lack of looking at it like it could definitely be bigger than that. And by nature, as parents or even family members, you don't want to think the worst case scenario. Like someone actually hoping that they are just bad and they just need their ass whipping or they'll grow out of it. And then you find out that it's more to it. I think along with the shame, I think a lot of what plays in a lot is the denial that it could be something bigger. And I think that's a hindrance as well, though. Because when I see you acting right, and then I just engulf my feelings and my emotions and my hope in the fact that, he all right, ain't nothing wrong with him. But then 3 days later, you're sitting up there having a whole conversation, answering questions in the living room by your damn self. Be like, man, something wrong. Keep his ass inside. you right. You right back to square one.
Right. And some you mentioned earlier, Brian, like some of it is we don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's like either I can deny it, or I can, be ashamed of it, or whatever the case may be. But the bottom line is I don't know what to do and where to go for help. And that's why we're a resource. That's exactly why we're a resource. And we're creating more resources so people will have places to go that they can trust to figure out what to do and how to do it. Especially when I'm doing CPS cases and stuff like that. A lot of parents, they just don't know. They literally just don't. They have no clue. Then I'm like, oh, you can try this. Oh, you can do that. And he might be on the spectrum, but not a problem. Try this, right? And all that. But when people have tools to use and support to be able to bounce things off of without shame, guilt, and ridicule, it's much more helpful. It's much more helpful. Now, what do you think helped us? Like again, like our whole generation, all the cousins, like all seem to be like on the same page of like we doing things differently than our parents did. What do you think is different about us?
I for real, I think it's just the times, but I don't. But I honestly don't think I'm doing much different than than what my parents did. I mean, because I don't see where they were doing things that were that different. You know what I mean? But I think in general, I think it's the times and I think we do have more access to to more information, and we do have it without leaving the comfort of our own home, where we even without looking for it. It may pop up. Yeah, and especially in today's society, if you Google, do I need a therapist? And then 10 minutes later, go on TikTok, you got a bunch of, you do need a therapist. Well, I'm a therapist. I'm a black therapist. You get all that information. It's almost like it's handed to us. But I think the biggest difference with our parents is it was less accessible. You know what I mean? And they did have to figure it out on their own and hope for the best and keep it moving. You know what I mean? At the same time. So
right, because I definitely can see where both of our moms like actually tried to do something different than the parents did before, right? And stuff like that, to try to do something that would make things better and all that. And then we took that up after that and did even more. Stuff. So that's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, with one more about the racism of the thing.
You talked a lot about racism and its impact on our PF. I'm just gonna be quiet. I just
just go green. Well, for one thing, I don't think we realize how bad racism is for our physical health. The research is robust that dealing with overt racism, dealing with racial microaggressions is associated with high blood pressure. Like we wonder about these chronic health conditions. Some of it is, in fact, passed on from generation to generation and how we have learned to try to cope. But others of it is just the hypervigilance that we need to have, that many of us have, to anticipate the stuff, going into a store and trying to look like you're not stealing. You're not stealing, but you have to be aware and stay on guard for when something could happen. Like that does something, for us physiologically.
100%.
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, it's like being a gazelle living around lions, leopards, and hyenas. You
Mhm.
can't take a break. You always got to be like this.
They gotta be on the
Because
swivel all the time.
I've been the guy to go in the store and be like, let me look like I'm not taking nothing in the store because I don't want nobody following me around in this store. And now I'm looking every time I see, so if I'm walking this way and somebody in the store uniform walking the other way, I immediately go like, and
Yeah.
it always feel like they follow me because like I'll go this way, and then the next thing you know, I see them coming this way, and I'm
Hmm.
like, you're following me, but you need to be following Tom over there. That's stealing 200 bags of dog food and and a case of water and
You
rolling
don't
his
look at it.
basket out the door, but you didn't check his receipt.
Right, yeah. He don't
Right.
walk
I,
out in the
I
refrigerator. You looking at me with these light bulbs. You know?
thank
Mhm.
you. I got a dozen of eggs that's not in the bag, and you gonna stop me because you think I'm stealing eggs.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah,
But he,
it's that. How much do you think our hypervigilance causes us to possibly see stuff that might not be there? Like,
All the time.
a
All the
lot.
time. I have an issue I've admitted often is I like strangers, white people. I approach them like you're racist until I see that they're not. You know what I'm saying? And they don't necessarily have to fit the stereotype. They don't have to fit the look. If they're behind the counter and I'm on the other side of the counter, then they feel like they're in the position of power. If I have a problem or issue or something I'm asking about, I expect 100% expect adversity 100% of the
every
time. And
time.
then when they go, oh man, don't worry. I remember one time I had to take I bought a speaker from Guitar Center, took it out the box, amp was piping hot, joint didn't work. I said, oh, bringing this back tomorrow. I walked back in there with the speaker and was like, and at this point I had totally destroyed the box. So I'm walking in with my receipt and the speaker. And I was like, I said, hey, I'm automatic. Hey, I just
Ready.
got this yesterday. I got the receipt right. I'm automatic. The dude
Ready.
was like, oh man, he said, I said, here go the receipt. He said, man, I don't need that. You want to get another one or you want your money back? I was like, oh yeah,
He
I'm
was
gonna
like,
get another one.
oh,
He said, well, I'm gonna go grab it for you. And I was like, he said, all right. He said, where you parked at? I said, further down. He said, pull up our back door. Our name on the back door. I'll bring it to you. I was like, well, God damn. But,
right.
Uh,
but the thing is going back to what the lady was saying about blood pressure. I went in there, headache, chest pounding. I'm already on 10 because
Hmm.
my expectation is like without proof, without reason, automatically I'm thinking he gonna think I'm trying to get over. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? He thinking I'm trying to get over, but bro, I just bought this shit yesterday. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And
Right.
of course, all people are not like that. But the thing is when this is a constant, not and when I say constant, I don't mean every day, every hour, all the time. But if it happened to you 2 times, that's 2 times too fucking many because it shouldn't be happening at all. You know?
I can feel that. I can definitely feel that. Yeah, it do keep us super hyper aware, and it does affect like your blood pressure, the cortisone that's running through your system. You know,
yeah,
hyper vigilant and all that kind of stuff. The headaches and the stomach aches and and think about that even going into your workplace where you either sick of this shit or they don't treat you well or whatever the case may be. Especially if you're the only black body in there. That's like,
Mhm.
mm, you
yeah.
know.
Oh, I deal with it all the time. I I I work in a department. My whole department is black. And I know we do more work than anybody in that company. I know we do because when we out there grinding it out every day and they come jump on the meeting, they jump on the meeting like it was the best day on the planet. Oh, hey, Ella. I'm like, what the hell y'all been doing all day?
Right.
You know, and I'm like, you know, come on now. And like, I've never seen a black person get promoted now.
Right.
Never,
Okay.
never,
He said
and
never.
never. I mean, my supervisor, she was my supervisor when she got hired. And we had a black HR guy who got laid off. But those were the only two black people in the leadership position at this company.
Oh wow.
Everybody else was white. My VP is the laziest mofo on the planet and will visibly let you know he is like the laziest mofo on the planet. He'll come. Yeah, he's one of the. Okay, Brian will know. You ever work with one of them people? You come up with a great idea, and they literally take your great idea in your face and say it was their idea. That's
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. And he'll just do it right there. Something will come up, he push it off on anybody that's underneath him. He gonna push it off on you, and
wow.
then take all the credit when the meeting come up. Yeah.
Wow.
And
right.
they ask me why I don't say, and they ask me why I don't say nothing. I'm like, man, you know, we know he's gonna do it, and I don't want to run my blood pressure up.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. You have to figure out what's worth the fight.
Yeah,
right, right.
Yeah.
Because there's major consequences in the aftermath anyway. So
Right.
you got to pick it. You got to pick it.
Right. I mean, because that's literally what I was doing in good. Well, I was like, I had already decided how far I was gonna go with it,
Right.
and when I was gonna concede. But I was like, but I'm going. When we put the stuff in the basket, I was like, oh no, I'm going to challenge them at the register. I'm going to do
Right.
that, right? Because it's well within my right to do so. Because
Right.
old me really would have conceded and been like, we just gonna whatever they say.
Right. Right.
I'm like,
right,
oh, we're gonna challenge this. We're gonna push a little bit. We ain't gonna go all out, but we're gonna go as high as the management. And if they still say something, I'll be mad, but I ain't gonna say nothing. Now, Nay, on the other hand, she gonna always again take care. Right. We had to do that after the event Saturday. Because I had ordered business cards, right? And I did it on the one like the same day deal, right? Now I knew I'd ordered it late, so it probably would be the next day when it was ready, right? So, all right, cool. We had checked on it that evening because I'd also ordered ink. So we picked it up. The guy was like, oh, yeah, it should be ready tomorrow morning, probably. All right, cool. We didn't do it the next morning because that was the day of the event. Got all the stuff together, went out there. It's after 4:00, and then they called about 5:30. They texted me at 6:30 and said that everything was ready. We're like, all right, cool, because we got to make more copies, all this stuff. We leave the event, we go to Office Depot, we get ready to pick up stuff, and they closed because they closed at 7.
God dang.
Right.
dang,
Because I don't know that y'all close early on Saturdays now because they're Office Depot, right? Like,
Right.
right,
and so why wouldn't you be open at your same hours as you do Monday through Friday? Because you just
Right.
right. So I leave there. I'm pissed because I was like, I done left my event. Like, we get back, we upset, whatever. So we go back the next morning. And I was like, oh no, because they're gonna give me a refund because I ordered the cards for the event, right? Because I'm trying
right,
to get my clinicians some business. So I got them some cards, right? So you messed up my marketing because you didn't do what your store said you would do, right? So I go in there, I say, hey, I go straight for the manager. Hey, let me talk to your manager because this happened. I mean, you the man doing the cards. I appreciate your work, but this is above your pay grade here. Okay.
Right.
Your fault. You back here by yourself doing all this work. So get to the manager, told him what the deal was and all that. And then I was like, I need to know how I'm gonna be compensated for this thing because you cost me money. You cost me money. You cost me customers, right?
yeah,
And so So he comes over, he's just like, okay, well, we'll just give you a refund, right? So I'm like, cool, no problem. Then when he get back over there to do the refund, he get ready to take or we'll just trash the cards. No, sir. You will not trash the cards.
Right.
Because why would you trash the cards rather than just give me the cards if you give me a refund anyway? You can't reuse the cards. So just give me my refund and give me the cards, because that's a good business deal there. You screwed up, you cost me something, and here's my compensation for your screw up, right? Business, right? And so he was like, oh, wait, he had to go up another level. So he get the other manager, the other manager. So I can hear her over there like, well, no, if the cards are available, then they have to pay for them. I was like, and so I said loudly, not if you didn't do your part. So come over here so we can talk about it. So she'd be like, I'll over there in a minute. So she get over there, we're talking. She's coming up with all these reasons and coming up with all these policies. And look, I done this 1,000 times before with y'all. I got calls from y'all before, never had this problem. It sounds like the young man was swamped with work. He couldn't get the stuff done. And even when he called to say that it was ready, I didn't get a courtesy of saying, hey, by the way, the store closed at 7 today.
Right.
That's the biggest thing off about. You're already running late doing my cards, but you ain't even say, hey, I know we're late on this stuff, but like we closed at 7.
Right.
Because I had to leave my event to come and do this thing, all right? And stuff like that. So I'm telling them all that. The lady makes a comment about, well, we've been closing early on Saturday for X amount of years, and you can just find that on the website. And I backed up off the counter and I did this, and I started giggling. I was just like, and I was like, I'm mad now. I'm really, really mad.
Yeah, that's what that means. Yeah,
that's what it means, and all that. So that's why I'm in my mind. Okay, how far do I want to take this? Because she's really pissing me off. Now you're being a smart ass, right? And so then when I did that, Nate took over. Nate was like, first of all, what the store hours got, like, that's a courtesy. That's a courtesy you laid on my cards. And you can't say, yo, by the way, we close at 7. Hurry up, right? And all that.
Right. You called me at 6:30.
You called me at 6:30, right? For cards that should have been done already, right? And all that. So Nate took over. She did the thing. When she saw herself get to a certain level, and this lady, she wouldn't budge. And Nate said, "What's the discount? Because you're gonna give me something, right?" So she wound up giving us like a 25% off discount, right? And all that. When I tell you, before we got in the car good, Nate was on the phone with corporate. Nate was on the phone with corporate. I'm showing them. Right, and all that. And they told us how we go about, she put the complaint in and all that. And the lady she was so kind to, I know it's not your fault, but thank you for letting me rant about the store, because it's not you as a company, you know what I'm saying? But this particular store right here is tripping, and y'all might want to check that, because I'm a business owner, and so I was so proud of her. I was so proud of her, And by the time she finished, she put it in, and the lady was like, and by the way, here's the number that you can call to get your full refund. Thank you, ma'am. Because she could have did that.
Yeah. Right. But when people who are not used to being in power get a little power,
it was an Asian lady.
You're not. There you go. You're not going past me. You're not. I'm the stop all end all right here. You're not going above me.
Right.
So just like my lady at Goodwill, she had the power to bring that stuff up the way it was. And this other lady had the power to give me that refund without question, and not have been like, thank you very much for your business. I'll be back next time. Now I'm not doing business with y'all no more. I know that might not count for y'all.
Yeah, it won't close the store down.
Yeah.
It won't close the store down, right? But somebody else will
be better for it. Yeah, you'll be better for it.
And so I'm gonna find somebody that's willing to do business with me, right? And stuff like that. So
and let's be
not recommending you either.
And let's be honest, if you was Chanel, a white girl, you would have got a full refund.
That was my point. That's the whole point, because I would have, and I wouldn't have to do much to get it.
No,
but that's and especially that group and the other group, those groups, and they got a lot of them in our group too. Believe in that white power.
Yeah,
they believe in that white power, but I'm not that damn job loyal. I'd have been like, what? Sorry about that. Here's the refund. You still want the cards? You do? All right, well, they're yours. You know what I'm saying?
Because all I'm supposed to do is throw them away anyway. Go on and keep
All
them.
they gonna do is throw them in the
Throw them
trash. They're
away.
not gonna use them.
Yeah,
Right.
because there was a very nice lady last night with butterflies in her hair.
Hmm.
We bought some wine last night. The wine was terrible, so we brought the other bottle back. When I got there, I didn't see the sign when we bought it, but there's a sign up there that said no refunds on liquor.
Okay.
Mhm.
She came over, the lady at the cafe, she didn't know. She
Right.
couldn't do it, so she had to get her permission.
Right.
So then she came over there, she was like, I've got some bad news for you. We can't do the refund, da da da. And I was like, and I looked up and I saw the sign, I was like, well, can't argue this one. Okay, all right,
Exactly.
no problem. She stopped, she looked in the bag, she looked at me, she was like, come over here, come over here. Next thing I know, I got my refund.
Right. Because that's the thing.
So
Like, you have the power to do the things. And cool, use the discretion. Of course, use your
yeah,
discretion. But if your discretion is discriminatory, that's a problem.
and it
Right.
wasn't. And I think it was because she had butterflies in her hair, to be honest.
Well, you know
She
us with
jockey your
butterflies
tie.
in our hair. You know how we
That's
do.
Yeah,
probably law. Man, that's
yeah.
copywriting.
You know. So yeah, yeah. So I think that with regarding to going back to stigma and all that, that is changing. We see the changes, right?
Hmm.
Changes in our generation, and the more education we get out there, um, I still get shocked by the amount of people that are still afraid to go to therapy or are still afraid to step into the things. Um, Again, I also understand that it's mistrust of the healthcare system as well,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
which is also why I created the organization that moves that out of the way. You know, come
Hmm.
as you are, be who you are.
Right.
We got your back
Right.
and all that. So let me pull out Black History on me because happy Juneteenth, people.
I'm only posting once today because Juneteenth isn't content, it's commitment. And I want to use this space to say something that matters. We are our ancestors' answered prayer. And today, Black people, we get to rest because they couldn't. We talk about freedom like it happened all at once, but Juneteenth reminds us that it didn't. June 19th, 1865. Texas. Thousands of Black men, women, and children were still enslaved 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, because the people holding them chose silence, chose greed, chose violence, and freedom didn't come until Union soldiers arrived, read General Order Number 3, and made it real by force. That's the history. But the meaning? The meaning came after. When Black folks in Texas found out they were free, they celebrated right there in the fields, in the streets, in kitchens, yards, and churches. No trust funds, no reparations, no apologies. Just bodies, voices, drums, and joy. They had cookouts, wore their best clothes, sang spirituals out loud, the same ones they used to whisper in code. They ate red food, drank red punch, lit fireworks. That red symbolized the blood, the pain, the ancestry, but also they turned delay into dignity. They turned stolen time into celebration. And that's why I'm only posting once today. Because y'all, we don't have to perform our pain to prove our worth. We're not here to make slavery more digestible or make Juneteenth cute and corporate. Today we honor. Today we remember. But more than anything, we reclaim. We reclaim what was denied. Peace, stillness, family, laughter, good food with people who love us. A moment to breathe without explaining ourselves. A full exhale. We are the proof that freedom did arrive. But we're still here. With our names, with our joy, our culture, our rhythm, our rage, tempered with rest. So Black people, today, I hope you do what they couldn't. Sleep in. Say no. Make a plate. Turn your phone off. Lay in the sun. Take up space. You don't owe the world a breakdown of your choice. You don't owe them anything. You've already given more than enough. They couldn't rest. They couldn't gather without fear. They couldn't stop moving or the system would swallow them. But we can, so we must. That's the real tribute. But to the joy they dreamed about and the peace they never got to feel. Happy Juneteenth. Celebrate it if you want. Rest if you Either way, make it yours, because now it can be.
That
I
was
like
important.
that.
And I'm gonna tell
Yeah,
you
I
why.
like that.
Because
That was
right,
what?
I think it's important because I think a lot of people we celebrate it, but we do acknowledge the suffering a lot. You know what I mean? And I like how she put that. Like, nah, we not here to relive the horror. We here to celebrate the freedom. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? On Juneteenth, when I cut my grass on the day of Juneteenth,
Right.
and my neighbor was like, "Yeah, you cut grass on Juneteenth." I said, "Man, it's Juneteenth. I can do whatever I want to." You know what
Exactly.
I'm saying?
Right.
What I want to do. You know what I mean? But yeah,
Because you know what? I can celebrate the fact that I'm cutting my grass,
exactly.
not master's grass.
So I think,
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think people need to take it more seriously. I'm definitely moving forward, going to take it a lot more seriously because I see a lot of events and things that go on, and but what I do like about a lot of the events celebrate, the freedom. Like the one I just played for. It was a big celebration of the freedom. They ain't dwelling the we went through 400
Yeah,
years.
Yeah.
They just touched the celebration side of it, and I think that's. But people need to also remember, what they're doing because I've seen some of them that look like freak men. You know what I'm saying? I've seen some celebrations. I'm
Like, is that honoring us?
y'all are free. Put your dogs on now. You know what I mean? So
Right.
yeah, we need to take it more seriously. I
Right.
don't want to get like them folks in 4th of July. Like even for their thing, they forget what their thing is about. You know what I'm
That's true.
saying?
Yeah. Because we don't need to ever forget why we're doing it. What's the why?
Right.
Right.
But I like Ashley the Baron. It's like that. She do a lot about
Yeah.
Black History moments. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Like I need
Yeah.
to reach out to her and invite her to come
Yeah.
on one day.
That was good though. It did. I'm with Brian. It did make me think about look at it a little more different because I do think I think everybody then forgot like the real reason for 4th of July.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Right.
we slowly but surely rolling back to something that they left England for. They left England because they didn't want to live under a monarchy.
Isn't that something?
And then
And,
came here
and
and created a monarchy.
They came here and
yeah,
created a monarchy.
I mean, you
yeah,
can only do as much as you know, and that's that's just natural human nature. When you was the low man on the totem pole, you always wanted to be the big man. So they got him like, don't nobody know us here. They don't know we wasn't shit an hour ago. You know what I mean?
right.
So we introduce ourselves like we the shit.
Yeah.
We'll be the shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, because when they left England, came to America, they left because they didn't want to live under a king. They didn't want to do the slavery thing.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that they left when more people started coming, they just did what worked. Slavery worked
Right. It did.
in Europe. It worked. So they brought it to America. And people just stopped saying no, we're not gonna do that. They just let it kind of just let it happen.
And then when somebody said no, they had to fight about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's good. Understandable. You know what I'm saying?
And they think about it because it is starting to get to a point now where remember the piece I sent where they talked about how they separated like the blacks from mingling with the whites and the Indians from
Right.
all that's coming back if you look at it. All those generations as their children are coming up, they're not falling for the okey doke no more. You can't just tell them something and they believe it.
Yeah.
The information is here now. They can see it. It's not you can hide what happened 400 years ago, a long time ago. You can't hide it now. So now they're making conscious choices to be like, I want to be with this person. I want to do this. I want to do that.
Right.
The old, the older generation, they trying to hold on to that because like Brian said, it's a mental illness. They
Right,
don't want to let it go because it defines them. Me
right.
being greater than, black ass Fred
Hmm.
defines them.
Right.
Right.
And they
Because
losing
there's
their grip.
no real benefit. It's no real benefit in that shit. Naturally, they would have more. You would have more without racism. Like I've always
Oh
said,
my
it's like
God. Yes.
Yeah.
we would be in flying cars or some shit right now because there was some little Asian kid or some little black kid in Brooklyn who figured out a way to make it work, and then because he was black, they was like, nah, nigga, we ain't doing that. You know what I'm saying? And missed out on a great opportunity because I mean, you look at all the things that black people invented, and that black people have created that they looked at like it was trash. Air and I'm, as simple as air, freaking hip hop itself was looked at
Yes.
as so much trash. These people was in court trying to kill it. Now
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
see a
Yeah.
Tylenol.
I remember.
Taking Tylenol because Tylenol, it's everywhere. It's literally everywhere. It's literally everything from country music to
Yes.
pop music to
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Infiltrated
saying?
everything.
But we've created and other cultures too have created probably some awesome things like they looked at the Japanese people like they wasn't shit. These mother keep coming up with cool ass shit.
Oh,
You know
hello.
what
Thank
I'm saying?
you.
Keep coming up with cool ass shit. And America could have had all that. But
Right.
if it's not a white Anglo-Saxon male that
Right.
invented it,
Yeah.
Right.
the white women got to wake up. Y'all got dogged out too. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
So if it wasn't one of the men folk that made it, it didn't have any meaning.
After
Yeah,
any,
you know what
Yeah.
I
right.
mean?
Or if they couldn't, and
Uh,
after that is if I can't steal it from you and profit
Right.
off of it for myself, I can't give you the credit. I can't give you the
Right.
money. I can't give you
Exactly.
nothing that comes from it. Even though I probably needed to partner with you because I could fund your thing because I got the money to fund your thing.
Right.
So like again, like a Shark Tank kind of thing, right? I want a
Mhm.
certain percentage. Cool, like that's an appropriate business deal, right? And
Right.
all that. But no, I want it all for myself. I want it all for
Yep.
myself.
Yeah. That-
I don't want your
I
name.
mean,
I don't want your face
out,
on it.
yeah, like out here now, they're getting ready to build a monorail train going from Las Vegas to Los Angeles. The Japanese did that almost 20 years ago.
Yeah,
Yep.
They got that damn monorail train, that's bullet train, shoots clean across the country in
yeah,
Yep.
hours.
right,
Yep.
right.
Yeah.
Could have been did that. But like you said, if they can't get credit for it, they don't want to do it.
Nope. Not for
Inefficient, costs too much. Now they're building one here. They trying to do one. Well, not trying. They're gonna get one done going from Dallas to Houston. So instead of driving 3, 4 hours to
Right.
get to
Ain't
Houston,
no
you can
Amtrak
get
that run that route. I checked.
yeah,
Ain't no
you can get
Amtrak.
to Houston from Dallas now in the hour.
mm,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And what you were saying, Brian?
No, there's no train that runs from Dallas to Houston right now.
Oh
Mm.
yeah,
Because
I
I
know.
checked.
There's going to be.
And
They're building a bullet train.
I thought it was
So
so
no
weird.
Amtrak, no like there's no train,
You gotta
Mm-mm,
catch
mm-mm.
a bus.
a bus.
Yep.
Oh
And I
man,
don't ride on no buses. That's for
The Meg, you got to get on the
American
mega
money.
bus, baby. That's the hood. That's like Soul Plane, that mega bus.
yeah,
Jump on
Megabus
there.
is a soul plane.
Yeah, because I took the bus from New Orleans to Houston when I
Uh-huh.
came down there for the game. Well, I couldn't wait to get off that damn bus. I was like, this is horrible.
Let me tell you something though.
It
When
was a
Megabus
bad
first
experience
started,
going.
it was a bomb. It was a bomb when it first
Yeah.
started. But
And I was on Greyhound.
huh?
I was on, Greyhound. Greyhound or Hotar. There was one of them.
Yeah.
But I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
that bus ride was terrible, man. Bus driver driving and on his cell phone. And I was sitting right up front. I said, hey, man. I said, hey, bro, you got your eyes on the road? He said, oh, I got it, bro. I got it. You know what I'm saying? Look, he looked like he was from uptown, too. I was like, man.
You got all these people on the bus. This your job.
Yep. And I ain't gonna lie. When I got off that bus, when I got to Houston, Google, right? I was just on bus number such, and this is what was happening. You know what I'm saying? And I remember my man was like, he said, "Man, you don't get that man fired." I said, "I don't give a fuck about his job because he didn't give a fuck about my life."
On my life.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm like, nah, he needs to be fired. You know what I'm saying? He needs to go.
Driving a bus, nigga, like what?
Exactly. I'm like, man, this is not
You
a
do that in your
Toyota
own
Corolla.
family, but it's a busload of people. Like
For real, I thought I was gonna take a nap on the bus. I'm mine wide up. I was like, boy, you put that phone down. I was sitting down. I said,
you like, what that nigga doing? That nigga up? Is he woke? Is he woke? Is he woke? Is he texting?
Later. You know what I'm saying? When
Somebody
you get
take
home.
this nigga's phone.
Exactly.
Have mercy. So what kind of advice you got to people who are still stuck?
Get unstuck, people. Just if you need help, just go get help, man. Don't worry. Pride is overrated.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and do the research. Pride is overrated. That fear is overrated. That shame is overrated. And you know what I'm saying? Like if take care of your mental health the same way you take care of your physical health. And if you're not taking care of your physical health, do that shit too. You see me drinking this goddamn Gatorade.
I see you there, and it's frozen too. I see you shaking it up.
I like the freezer. Yeah, I make it like
that's nice right there. That's nice right there. Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm gonna add this too, that I know therapy is not the be all end all, but it really don't hurt. If you're seeing the right person, it really don't hurt.
Right? Not at all.
Because I know a lot of times too that people feel like I have to have some diagnosable. Look, if you're black, you got post-traumatic slave syndrome, period. That ain't in the DSM, but you got it. So, but it's still a form of PTSD. Like we say, there's a birth defect that's happening from that you are likely suffering from in some way, shape, or form, and all that. You live in this country of America, and you black, you experience some stuff that lots of people might not want to admit that you deal with on a daily basis. And you need to know how those things are affecting you every single day. You feel like you're fine because you've learned how to be fine. You've learned to mask. You've learned to figure it out. And that's all gravy. But it's also okay for you to talk about those things and express those things. And for somebody to be able to hear you saying, man, these folks, right? It's okay for you to be like, white people, And it's not every white person, but it's enough of them to give you that effect. Right?
Yeah.
It only takes one.
Right, exactly. And that's the thing, that it only takes one, right? And so again, like therapy is not the be all end all, but do talk to somebody. Get in a therapy group, get in a Facebook group, join something, get in a men's group, whatever it is that's gonna help you to get that stuff out of your body and to talk about it. That's what y'all need to be doing. Do something. Don't just sit on that shit until you die, because it will kill you.
Yeah.
It will. Don't straight up. No, straight up. Be it you decide you don't want to be here no more, or your blood pressure go up so high that do you in. Because some kind of way, shape, or form, it's gonna get you. So I encourage and suggest the help that you need. And I'm gonna send a shout out for therapists, be it first black therapists. Get your education, get what you got to get, but learn your people and what works for your people, if that's who you choose to work with. And I hope that you do, because we need you. And for therapists that are not black or of color, even if you are of color, I do my due diligence to learn other cultures that I'm working with, because I do work with all cultures, right? And if there's something that I don't know, I do start working on research and figuring out what that culture is like and all that. Be willing to do that if you plan to work with people outside of your own culture. If you're black and you're working with black folks, keep it real and don't be a part of the system that's here that's breaking us down. Don't allow yourself to get caught up into, again, the DSM diagnosis when you know that don't match. So don't play the game and all that. Say out loud what you're really feeling. Stop saying you're fine when you're not fine.
You're right. Say that. She say every damn thing else.
Be real about it. Talk to your people that you do trust and your loved ones. There are lots of black mental health resources out there.
You don't even have to Google it. You can go on your chat GPT and it'll give you a list too.
You in that chat
GPT. So get your chat friend to look out for you as well. And all that good stuff. So next week, in honor of Men's Mental Health Month, we're gonna talk about Black men's mental health because we Black, and so they gotta decide if they want me to be here or not. If they want me to be here, I'll be here. If they don't, I'll disappear, and all that. Because I believe in safe spaces for men. If that's what they want the safe space to be, just men, then we're gonna make it just men, and all that. But if they want me to be here, I'll be here. You know what I'm saying? And y'all got anything else you want to say before we roll out?
Nah, I'm good.
Y'all good?
I'm straight.
Fred, have fun where you are.
Yeah.
Don't spend all your cash.
In fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada.
Fabulous Las Vegas. I'm so surprised.
You went to your other house. You went to your other home.
Yeah, he's at his own home.
Yeah. You know.
So. And in the meantime, Brian, I forgot to tell you, I'm said while we recording right now and all that your little niece, Gray, my youngest daughter, she said she wanted to be a DJ. So you are going to teach her to DJ.
Okay.
Master DJ.
All right. Okay. It's on.
Wiggle.
See, that's wrong right there. Everybody wants to start with scratching. Nope. I
remember when I was trying to learn, I was just as confused, but I did have horrible teachers. So yeah, Oh gosh, y'all remember that we are conscious, we are aware, we stay prepared, but we ain't never scared.
Never.
A great no bullshit week. Don't let nobody bullshit you this week.
Peace out.